Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan Hotels. And thank you for joining us for another episode of True Hotel Leaders. This man needs no introduction. Okay? Doesn't need any introduction at all. But we got David in the house. What's going on, buddy?
Happy to be here.
All right. Glad to have it. Glad to have you. Now, you know the same question I ask everybody. How did you get started in this business?
Yeah, so it's really, it's not funny, but so I was at University of Pittsburgh. My best friend was at Cornell Hotel School. Mm-hmm. And we were talking, and I said, yeah, I got to get a job. I got to put myself through college. And he said, oh, just go to any hotel. You'll get a job. Mm-hmm. So I rode my bike to downtown Pittsburgh. I applied at a couple of hotels, and I got a $21 an hour. I think it was that was my union fees. $6.50.
Union fees was $21 an hour?
$21 a month.
Okay.
I was a union busboy at the downtown Hyatt in Pittsburgh.
Nice. I started off at Hyatt too. That's
yeah,
crazy.
and it was cool. It was funny. I met somebody last night who actually worked there at the same time I did as an employee. But anyway, so
that must have been a big hotel.
Yeah, it was.
Now, what made you decided to how did you get your start? With revenue management, and what are some of the things that you felt like, you know what, I can really do this full time?
Yeah. So for me, my background was more websites, booking engines, mm-hmm. distribution. I ran a company that did guest engagement apps, mm-hmm. and the opportunity came up to be the CEO of LodgIQ, and I didn't really have a strong revenue management background, and mm-hmm. I like to learn new things. And so for me, this was like perfect. And so when I was, as you get older, you look and say, what do you want? And I said, I want good people, good product, and funding. And LodgIQ had all those three. I got to meet the team before I joined, got to see the product, and the rest is history. It's going on almost 2 years, and revenue management now is morphed into commercial strategy,
yes.
And we're trying to lead that movement in the way we're approaching things.
Nice. Man, how is it when everything got started? Because there's like one or two, even though you guys are probably number one, there's still a number two out there. So how did things get started when you first started the company, and what made you decide, you know what, we can crank it up and move into the right direction?
Yeah, so for me, luckily a lot of the heavy lifting was done. We were a mature startup, mm-hmm. and what I mean by that is that we were kind of running, COVID hit, and we didn't go under, we just went dark. So we stopped sales, we stopped marketing, we just focused on the product. And then when I came on board in 2022, the idea was we're now going to flip the switch back on, start the commercial efforts, do sales, do marketing. And so that's what we've focused on, and just we're kind of like the Hoteliers revenue management platform, meaning that we're all hoteliers. We have some great clients. Mm-hmm. We have great support. So unlike, and I won't name names, some of the bigger guys where you don't know anybody by name, you can't get a hold of them. I sit in on demos. I welcome our guests or clients. I give them my cell number and say, hey, look, if you have a problem with my team, you can call me directly.
Nice.
So again, we're making that shift into the commercial strategy platform, mm-hmm. But it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
That's been my issue, especially when dealing with any type of tech, is that the support is not there,
yeah.
and the training is not there. And when you have the question, it's hard to get a hold of somebody. You don't even know who to call. They want you to send them an email. So the fact that you give your cell phone number and make sure everybody's taken care of, that's extremely impressive, because most companies do not do that.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, some people will go, who are you? When I'm on a demo, like, what? And I said, no. And they said, well, I've never been on a demo with the CEO. I said, well, you're an important client. I said, I want to see how my team's doing. I like to see how we're presenting our product. I said, I want to see the reaction, and that's the best feedback. So you can hide behind, I know some people don't want to give out their cell number, they don't want to give their email out, they don't want to talk to the clients, but I was like that as a GM. I wanted to always talk to the guests, find out what was going on, talk to my employees. So if there's a problem, we all know about it. I mean, we leverage technology like Slack. So if there's an issue, everybody knows, and we don't have a lot of issues, but when there is something, we attack it, and we've got a great support team, and you don't have to worry about just sending emails. You can actually call someone if you need it.
Yeah.
So that's game. We just launched a new app, so we've given our clients the ability to leverage our platform on the go in their phone. So we have an app where they can make rate changes, they can do restrictions, they can get market data, so they can see, hey, the system saying I need to do the following. Why is that? Oh, let me look at the market. Oh, here's what's going on. Here's what's happening with my comp set. So we're trying to do things too to get ahead of it where, if the guest does have to, I would keep saying guest instead of clients, but when the client needs something, now that they have that mobile app, where they might have had to call and say, hey, can you guys help me out? I'm on the road or I'm here. Can you do something for me? We try to put it in their hands so they can do it.
Oh, so they have more control.
Yeah, they have more control. I mean, our platform is very easy to use, but the mobile is fantastic. I mean, you can just sit there. You could be on the train. You could be at the beach. You could be at home on Saturday night and be like, hey, let me just check the property, because we're all hoteliers never
That's right.
sleep.
That's
and
right.
they could just say, hey, wait, something happened. Boom, Taylor Swift just announced a concert. I'm in that city. Boom, boom, boom. Let me up the rates and put some restrictions on there, and it's done.
That is really, really impressive, especially with the app, because a lot of other companies, they just don't have that option.
No, they're not very good either.
So you're like stuck, and then like you're trying to pull up the program on your cell phone, and you're like, I can't see this. Got to enlarge the screen, hit the button, and decrease the screen, and like it's ridiculously crazy. So the app would definitely make things a lot smoother. What are some of the things that you're seeing now that you've been doing this for a couple of years now, when it comes to revenue management strategies with some of the hotels? Like, what are some of the things that you're seeing, and what are things that you want to change?
Well, I would say what I'm seeing is that the adoption rates are improving. A lot of hotels still aren't using a platform, or they're not using a platform that incorporates AI. We have algorithms, and we make rate recommendations. We don't have the hotel set up fences and hurdles and triggers. We basically just say, hey, if the system says you should sell at 305, you can't have a ceiling of 300 because the system's going to know more than you know. I try to explain to people, when is the last time you used a physical map to go and drive somewhere? Do you remember when the last time you used a physical map? Right. So a revenue management platform or a commercial strategy platform is just like a GPS. It basically efficiently digests data and lets you know how to get from point A to point B, how to avoid accidents, how to avoid traffic, and how to get there and know that you're going to get there in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So if you're sitting there looking at all these reports that you can get and you're manually looking at two screens and trying to figure it out yourself, you're going to be lost. So you don't use a paper map. Why would you not use a revenue management system like a GPS? Yeah.
Exactly. You know, one of the investors at a property that I managed, they wanted me to get rid of more software, and I'm like, are you going to go through 3 years worth of rates?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going through 3 years worth of rates when the system does it for $400 a month. Like, you're not saving $400. I'm just going to have to bill you for the labor that it's going to cost, and it's going to cost probably more like $50,000. So you can have the $400 a month or the $50,000 a month. Like, how is software cutting out all of the manual stuff in your particular system?
So we're just making it more efficient. So we're digesting, like you said, we're digesting historical data, on the books data, market data, comp set data, flight data, events data. You can, as a human, you can't efficiently do all that on your own. So our system does that, and other systems do that. We think we do it better, of course. But to your point in ownership, we know, and I've been doing this for a lot of years, the biggest challenge is getting the owners, who are the ones who are not having to do the job, to invest in the software that makes the property more efficient and make it more money, versus sitting back and saying, I'm not going to spend money on this when it's going to make you money. And I think that's the challenge. A lot of people talk about the management company fighting the ownership group and things of that nature. But that's, if you would ask me, like, what would I like to see change, it would be the adoption of technology. Because think about it, like, even now you travel, a lot of these hotels don't have a mobile key, mobile check-in. And then you go there, and what do you got to do? You need something, you got to call them. They don't have text messaging. And there's all these companies that do that, but they don't invest in it. And and quite frankly, most of the brands have invested but don't do it well. I used to always stay at a Marriott for one of my jobs, and every time I check in on my app and say I want a mobile key, I get to the front desk, and they didn't even know. They just cut me the key, hand me the keys. I'm like, all right, I tried again to get a mobile key, but
they still have the card that has the old school Onity cards, and You know,
Yeah.
you gotta swipe in 1,000 times just to get your door open.
Yeah, exactly.
No slight honesty. I mean, it's not your fault that they didn't upgrade the technology. It's 40 years old. What are you supposed to do, right? But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's usually an uphill battle because they don't. One of the savings they're going to see is in
Yeah.
the future. It's not like you turn the switch on and you make $5 million in one day. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
And they want to spend $50 to make $5 million. Like, yeah, that's the type of investment I want to make. It just doesn't work. It just
Yeah,
doesn't work.
no, agreed.
So,
Agreed.
how do you work with OTAs, and what are some of the changes that you want to see when it comes to like channel managers and OTAs and how they work?
Well, I mean, we consume, you know, like Lighthouse data or OTA Insights. For those who don't know, they changed their name. We consume that data, so we know what's going on. We know what's going on in their own channels, not only just the competition. But the one thing that I would love to see change when it comes to OTA business is that hotels need to do a better job of entering the guest details for the OTA bookings into the PMS, because they don't know. They just know that X amount of their business is Expedia, X amount of their business is Booking.com, but they don't know within that how much is from Germany, how much is from Spain, how much is from Asia, you know, what's domestic. And if you can start to look at that data, you can make much better direct booking decisions. So if you're getting a ton of business from Germany from Expedia, and you're not marketing to Germany, whether it be through Google pay-per-click or what have you, you're looking for other more efficient ways to get business, then you're missing out because they're spending all the money so that they've figured out Expedia, and their guests have figured out, hey, this hotel's good for me. I'm from Germany. I like this hotel in New York. And so I think that's the one thing that hotels miss out on. They just they're in the dark when it comes to what the actual OTA business is, not that they're getting it, but where is it coming from?
Nice. And that's a major issue with most people that deal with revenue, is that they don't look at the data.
Right.
They don't look at the zip codes. They don't look at the towns and to see exactly where this business is coming from. And then on top of that, they don't even care to market to it. So they know that all their business is coming from this sector, at least 30%. And they're like, we're not going to spend any money on that. That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, what we're trying to do is we're working with companies like TripTease, and we're trying to basically make sure that we share data so that we know what's happening on the direct channel, where the searches are coming from, what rate plans are they clicking on, what's the length of stay. But then we're also now able to share with TripTease, hey, you don't want to give this person 10% off. You want to give them 20% off, or you want to give this person, somebody who's shopping for 7 nights coming from Europe, give them an early check-in, because we know most of the flights in our destination from Europe are overnights and they're coming in. So you want to do that shopping cart abandonment approach, but do it in a smart way, so that when you're 95% occupancy and that person drops, you're not saying, hey, come back for 10% off, when you don't need the 10% off. You just need a booking. But there's other times, like I always use the example, the first 2 weeks in New York, you don't want to give away anything.
No.
But if that person's coming in January for a 7-night stay, you want to, hey, early check-in guaranteed, late checkout, no problem, 20% off, free breakfast, what have you. So we got to be smarter, and that's where the commercial strategy comes in, where you're leveraging the revenue management data to make very good commercial decisions on the sales and marketing side.
Nice. Different markets, like there's one market and then you're in another market, and then what are some of the tips or tricks that you would use to master that market so that your rates are in line?
Yeah, I mean, it's I would just tell people, I don't think there's any tricks. It's just that you need to, I always tell people, if you're not going to use our platform, you have to use a platform. We're approaching 2025, and if you're not leveraging AI and technology to help you consume data and make smart decisions for your property, then you're missing the boat. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And you can't consume this. You can't just get in an STR report and figure out how to price your property. You can't get the Lighthouse report and figure it out. So I just tell people, the secret is leverage the technology. It's like, it's right there. It's like whether you're using a Nest thermostat or the GPS, or the technology exists to help you be more efficient or save money or make more money. So why not use it? So again, if you don't use us, use somebody.
It's so funny you said that about the star report. I was just on a podcast and I say the last thing I look at is the star report.
Right.
I look at the market, I look at the hotels, I look at everyone's listings before I look at the star report, because a lot of times the star reports are wrong. Like the market segmentation is wrong. There are hotels that, you know, they're actually luxury properties. They just happen to be like leveraged or listed as mid-scale. So you're competing with those type of properties that have those type of amenities, and your properties in that star report. Or I would see a star report, there's no other hotels that are in the system in that area. So they have to use hotels to compare you against outside your market, like 30 miles away. Like,
it's crazy.
There's no way you're gonna get realistic numbers when that's happening. So that's so funny that you said
well,
that.
and also the biggest thing is, to your point, know who your competition is and why are they your competition. Not because they're right next to you or not because they sell for a certain rate, but is it, you know, we were just talking over at the commercial strategy conference earlier this morning about, you know, what type of room type, like do you have the wrong, you know, bedding? Do you have too many kings, not enough double doubles? Do you need bigger suites to compete with what is your true competition? Do you need certain amenities that you don't have? And hotels sometimes just look at location and rate, and they don't look at, say, okay, well, yeah, and they'll look at star rating, I get that, but not really like, okay, well, what type of guest, you know, do we have, and what do we need to attract those guests versus the competition?
Yeah, my favorite room type is actually kind of new. It's a lot of people. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but more people are doing it, and it's a hybrid king.
Okay.
So what they do is they put two queen or full bunk beds inside of a king room.
Okay.
If it fits. So if you run out of doubles.
Oh yeah.
If you run out of kings.
yeah. That's smart.
It's a hybrid, and you can charge a higher rate.
Yeah.
So
that's smart.
That's my new favorite room type. Like if you convert like maybe 10 doubles into a hybrid king, like you're always have that little wiggle room, you know, to throw somebody in there. So, man, listen, tell everybody everything you know about what's going on in the market when it comes to changing the changing like the rates and the demand. Like what's going on when it comes to increasing demand, and like what are some of the things that you do to try to smooth things over so you don't oversell out too low?
Yeah, it's all over. It's pretty much all over the place based off market. So we hear different stories in different markets. You know, well, I think even just like this show, High Tech, we're out of the COVID funk. We're out. You know, we have a labor shortage issue, but I wish we would start to maybe do something about it.
Yeah.
Meaning, I don't think so. There's a lot of data that's showing, look at the increase in the wages, but where were the wages starting? So we were already underpaying our employees, and now we're trying to show what a great job we are because we've increased this much since 2008 or whatever just came out. But so for me, I would just say, you know, and it's not, maybe I deviated from your question, but one of the things I would like us to see is just, you know, and my good friend Anthony McCurry drives this home, but this needs to become a career, not a job, like our staffing. So what I would love to see is hoteliers to leverage the technology to get the rates up, and when they can get the money to be able to pay the staff, because we know the owners are making money.
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. They're making money, and I think, you know, what I don't see are the studies coming out that say this is how the increased wages are really hurting them. And that's not a shot at owners, but I think you can't complain about something and not try to address the problem. And if you have a staffing issue, and a lot of that's going around wages and making it a career and you know, a clear path to move up and things of that nature. So I just think the market data can tell a story to help hotels do a better job of solving the staffing issues.
Yeah,
that's my
agree.
2 cents.
I agree. Speaking of market data, you have so many different markets, and the booking window is closing. So what changes have you seen as far as the booking window, and like in different markets, like New York compared to Arizona, or New York compared to Florida or California?
Well, we're still seeing that, you know, on certain, you know, destinations, we're seeing in some places where people, which maybe be more business travel, will maybe wait. The booking will be smaller, where you're still seeing traditional, tourist or vacation windows where maybe where the wife's involved and you have to make sure you know where you're staying and the room's booked. Whereas business travelers and most of the male business travelers are willing to wait last minute and find a place, like me, which drives anyone who's on my team crazy because I'll wait till the week before they'll say, where are you staying? They say, you didn't book your room. I said, so we're seeing that the booking windows are shortening, but again, you can go geography and when you start tying in flight data, you can start to see, it's going to be, you're not waiting last minute to go to Europe, but you might wait last minute to book that business trip to New York. Even if you know you're going to a convention, you might wait and see what rates are going, or see if you can get a better deal at a nicer property, and things of that nature. Yeah.
One thing that actually surprised me is actually construction. Like construction is like day off. Like they're no longer doing a week out or a couple of days out. They're like, I'm not paying a cancellation fee. If we need it, we need it. If we don't, we don't, because their project could get canceled or delayed or the case may be. So they're not going to take the risk. They're just going to book day off and call it a day.
Yeah, and what I learned, you talk about revenue management, things I never thought of. So I've learned as I've tried to educate myself, like extended stay market. There's no real true revenue management platform yet because they get extensions for the extended stay. So they have a lot of people that book 3 months and then extend the 4th month. And things of that nature. And then they have their more transient business. So, I know some of the brands that they have a platform for their extended stay product, but they only use it on the transient, not the true extended stay. So if somebody's staying a week, they can kind of figure out the rates for that, but they can't use or don't have a system yet that figures out this person's going to stay 3 months or someone's shopping and what's the likelihood they're going to book 3, extend a 4th month.
Because that would be kind of hard to calculate, because a lot of people that do extended stay are people that are having like temporary housing issues. Are nurses whose contracts can disappear like that. You know what I mean? Like they get a call and say, hey, we don't need you no more. You know what I mean? So, or a construction group that has a 4-month project that turns into 6, or vice versa turns into 2. So like that's like one of the hardest things to forecast.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you same thing, how do you manage that? I mean, it must be very difficult for them because you want that extension, but what if you've got stuff booked at the end that you've booked it, if you've done a good job, then it's like, I guess those crews and people are moving to another property. So.
There you go, because that happened to me quite a few times, so there's nothing you can do. Come back on Tuesday.
That's funny.
Well, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you too, man.
Tell everybody how they get in touch with you.
Yeah, I mean, the best channel, is probably LinkedIn. So just David Millili, Millili. Very difficult. And, go to LodgIQ.com, which is LodgiQ.com. And, just hope to see you on LinkedIn or hope to see you at another trade show.
Yeah, make sure you book a demo today.
Yeah, see the mobile.
For sure. All right. Thank you for joining us for another episode of True Hotel Leaders. This is Bruce Jordan, signing out. This episode was brought to you by the Hotel Revenue Bible, the #1 hotel revenue book that has ever been written. It includes revenue management, digital ads, social media marketing, sales, catering, F&B, and more. Grab your copy today at hotelrevenuebible.com.